take it down with another confession. Thank you very much indeed for all the confessions coming our way. Can I just say, just a reminder, having just read a whole batch. One, if your confession involves something that is criminal, it's probably not going to get read out.
It's definitely not going to get... If it's criminal, it's not getting on.
Nope.
I mean, I think that's... Also, any confession at all which involves a laxative is not getting on. So save yourself the time, okay? It ain't going to happen. I'm just doing that, just as a...
Yeah.
Just to help.
Oh, look, it's the trolley.
Just in time, the David Jacobs Memorial Drinks Trolley. What are you selecting from the trolley today, Suze?
Well, I'm still feeling quite Christmassy, so how about a Kia Royale cocktail, which is creme de cassis, so blackcurrant liqueur, topped up with fizz. It's easy peasy.
When you
delicious.
say you're still feeling Christmassy, it's like December the 6th. I mean, we've got weeks of this still to go.
I know.
Yeah, fabulous.
All right, okay,
It's excellent.
I'll have half a pint. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
So today's confession comes from Bruce, and Bruce says, "Hi, Simon and the gang. I'm writing to you after many years of soul-searching. I need to get this terrible burden off my chest, not just for me and my nearly grown-up children, but also to a noted figure of early childhood who I surely wronged in 2012. I take you back to the early autumn of that year. I dropped my children off at breakfast club before heading off to work. My 7-year-old son was particularly excited because he had a wobbly tooth and didn't think that it would last the day. He was contemplating what he could spend his tooth fairy earnings on, which works out at £7.52 in today's money, allowing for inflation and the poor performance of the pound against the dollar. Due to Liz Truss.
Right.
Says Bruce.
Okay.
Wow.
Which makes it a topical reference. I don't think there's any disputing the facts.
No.
Everything seems to...
I'm sure that's the case.
What, are you looking for a bit of balance there? When I picked the kids up after school, says Bruce, I was greeted by an excited, gap-toothed little boy holding up a blood-stained tissue containing one of his front teeth. Because Mum was at work late and because I couldn't be bothered to cook a nutritious tea, we headed in classic dad style to the Golden Arches for a tasty burger. All the way through the tea, I had to constantly... So loads of dads have just gone, yeah, I'd have done that. Actually.
Yeah.
In fact, I did that. All the way through tea, I had to constantly warn my son to keep his tooth safe in his pocket, or else he would have nothing to put under his pillow at bedtime. Just as I was scraping all the scraps and wrappers into the bin, I was startled by a sudden cry from my son, who had inevitably lost his tooth.
Oh, no.
He was nowhere to be found, despite fruitless searches through pockets and bags. I asked him where he had last seen it, and he said it was on his tray. So I ran back to the bin, parental urgency, and pushed back the lid to be greeted by a good 4 hours worth of food.
Oh, lovely.
Rolls, gherkins, chips, tissues, half-used sachets of sauce, cardboard wrappers. You know what it's like. Excuse me. I realized I had no hope of finding the tooth. So I grabbed the cleanest tissue I could see and popped it straight into my pocket, saying, "Ha, I found it. All good. Keep it safe until bedtime. Let's go." Well, inevitably, bedtime was soon upon us, and my son was asking for his tooth so he could put it in the specially prepared envelope along with his personally scribbled letter for that night shift's tooth fairy. So what to do? As he was brushing what teeth he had left, I was tidying up looking for some inspiration when I spotted a small plastic medieval knight lying on the carpet. I acted on the spur of the moment, and with desperation, I picked the soldier up, grabbed a pair of scissors, and decapitated him.
Excellent.
Pocketed the head and lobbed the plastic carcass into the recycling bin. Please take this into account when deciding whether I'm guilty or not. I shot upstairs before I could realize the desperation and sordid nature of my actions. I found the empty envelope under his pillow and pushed the head into the one corner of it, sealing the envelope with additional sellotape in case he felt the need for one last look. I spent a sleepless night worrying about my young son discovering the severed head, not a sentence I imagined that I would ever have said in a confession before, and the absence of the tooth, to the point that I sneaked into his room at about 2:30 a.m., removed the head from the envelope and replaced it with what was probably an excessive amount of cash for that particular time. I quickly scribbled a note on the outside of the envelope from the tooth fairy, and this added to my sins, because obviously that was a forgery. I went back to bed and I slept like a baby. My son woke the next morning to quite a windfall, I have to say, and was none the wiser as to what had transpired. I want to seek the forgiveness of you and your team, but also of my son, also the poor tooth fairy, who may have sneaked into his room later and discovered a severed head rather than a shiny tooth. Although in my defence, there was probably less blood involved. In some way, I've paid a financial price, as both my children expected the same extortionate payment every couple of months as their teeth fell out, despite my increasingly desperate attempts to convince them that the tooth fairy was struggling to maintain a viable recycling business, given the improvements in dental hygiene and the reduction in processed food sugar content.
Of course.
You got Liz Truss? No.
Yeah, no. I don't think you can blame Liz Truss for your teeth falling out. No. We could probably have a go. Okay, good. Ingenious work from Bruce, but forgiven or not, what say you, Sister Susie? Live from the pub.
Well, Bruce, there's a few things here. Like, how big was the severed head? Like, was it the same size as the tooth? I'm not really sure you could have got away with it, really, just by feeling it, because your son definitely would have given it a good feel, I reckon. But hey, anyway.
I reckon it was probably like a little Lego figure, like a tiny little head like that.
Okay, yeah. I still don't know if the same size as the tooth, but anyway, I just think it wasn't your fault. You told your son to keep the tooth in the pocket, and he probably should have done that. He was eating his dinner. Who wants a bloody tissue all over the table while you're having your food?
No,
not me.
Fine.
So therefore,
tissue is bloody.
Blood, yeah, I thought
Susan
had finally gone over the edge there.
I know.
But maybe it's the Christmas spirit. I don't think it's your fault, Bruce. I'm going to forgive you.
She's a producer. She can say what
I
she
mean,
wants.
you just thought so.
Yes.
Looks like she's going on another course.
Brother from another gutter.
I'm going to forgive. and I mean, really, Bruce, you're making a rod for your own back by giving in to the exorbitant fees charged by the tooth fairy, frankly. And I've never heard of this envelope and putting it in an envelope and writing a letter to the tooth fairy. That never happened in my day. Just the tooth underneath the pillow. That's no one's put. Who's got the tooth fairy hasn't got time to be writing letters or indeed reading them. Too many children to be going around.
You can't just put a tooth under a pillow.
Of course you can. That's exactly what you do. You put a tooth under the pillow. But I'm going to forgive just because we decided that you would go back into the bedroom at 2:30. 2:30.
Very good. I hadn't thought of that.
Come on. So for that reason, I'm going to forgive.